Every single person has moments of doubt. That feeling of uncertainty, the voice in your mind that says, maybe I can't do this, is something we've all faced. But here's the truth. Doubt doesn't have to stop you. In fact, it can be the very thing that pushes you to become stronger, sharper, and more determined than ever before. This isn't just about overcoming hesitation or fear. It's about transforming it into fuel that drives you toward everything you want in life. If you've ever felt like giving up, like the road ahead is just too hard, this message is for you. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can go from feeling unsure to stepping into the kind of confidence and determination that changes everything. You'll learn how to take control of your mindset, turn setbacks into stepping stones, and uncover the strength that's been within you all along. This is your time to stop holding back, to stop questioning whether you're good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. You are. And by the end of this, you'll not only believe it, you'll know how to take action on it. Because this is your life, and no one else can create the success you deserve but you. So stick with me, because we're about to shift the way you see yourself and your future. Let's get started. Number 1, recognize doubt without judgment. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Doubt is not your enemy. It's not a sign that you're weak or incapable. In fact, doubt is one of the clearest indicators that you're stepping into something meaningful, something that matters. You see, doubt only shows up when you're standing at the edge of your comfort zone, looking out at the possibilities ahead. The question is, how do you handle it? I want you to think about a time when you doubted yourself. Maybe it was when you were about to make a big decision, start a new project, or pursue something that felt out of reach. What did that doubt feel like? Did it weigh heavy on your chest, make your heart race, or cause your mind to flood with what-if scenarios? That feeling is familiar, isn't it? But let me ask you this. How many times did that doubt actually come true? How many times did the worst-case scenario happen? The truth is, most of the time, doubt isn't based on reality. It's just fear dressed up in disguise. The first step to dealing with doubt is to recognize it for what it is. Don't fight it, don't shove it down, and don't pretend it's not there. Just notice it. When you hear that little voice saying, you can't do this, or you're not good enough, pause for a moment and say, there you are. Treat it like a visitor at your door. You acknowledge it, but you don't have to invite it in. Doubt is a natural part of being human. It's not a flaw. It's a signal that you care about what you're doing. But here's where most people go wrong. They attach meaning to their doubt. They think, if I'm feeling this way, maybe it means I'm not ready. Maybe it means I'm not good enough. Let me tell you right now, that's not true. Feeling doubt doesn't mean you lack ability or potential. It just means you're stepping into the unknown. And let's be honest, the unknown is scary, but it's also where growth happens. Think about a child learning to ride a bike. They wobble, they fall, and for a moment they might think, I'll never get this. But do they give up? No, they get back on. Because deep down, they know that the only way to overcome the fear is to keep trying. That's the same approach you need to take with doubt. Acknowledge it, but don't let it stop you from moving forward. Now here's something practical you can do. When doubt shows up, write it down. Grab a piece of paper and list out the specific doubts running through your mind. Maybe it's, I'm not smart enough, or I don't have the experience, or what if I fail? Once you've written them down, take a step back and look at them. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have that supports this? Most of the time, you'll find that your doubts are based on assumptions, not facts. For example, you might think, I don't have the experience, but what about the skills you do have? What about the times you've learned quickly or adapted to new situations? When you challenge your doubts with evidence, you start to see them for what they really are, just thoughts, not truths. Another powerful way to counter doubt is to remind yourself of your past wins. Think back to a time when you accomplished something you didn't think you could. Maybe it was passing a tough exam, completing a big project, or even just getting through a challenging day. Those moments are proof that you're capable of more than you think. Write them down and keep them somewhere visible. When doubt creeps in, look at that list and remind yourself, I've done hard things before and I can do them again. And let's talk about action, because nothing quiets doubt faster than taking action. You see, doubt thrives in inaction. When you sit still and overthink, doubt has all the room it needs to grow. But when you take even the smallest step forward, you prove to yourself that you're capable. Maybe it's making a phone call, sending an email, or doing 5 minutes of work on that project you've been putting off. Whatever it is, just start. Action creates momentum, and momentum silences doubt. Now, I want to be clear about something. Recognizing doubt doesn't mean you'll never feel it again. It's not about eliminating doubt entirely. It's about changing your relationship with it. Instead of seeing doubt as a roadblock, start seeing it as a stepping stone. It's a sign that you're moving in the right direction, that you're challenging yourself and growing. Let me leave you with this thought. Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped letting doubt control your decisions. What goals would you pursue? What risks would you take? What dreams would you chase? The only thing standing between you and those possibilities is your willingness to face doubt head on. So the next time you hear that voice in your head saying, "You can't do this," I want you to answer back, "Watch me, because you can. You absolutely can." Number 2, break down the source of your doubt. When was the last time you stopped and asked yourself, why do I feel this doubt? You see, most people don't take the time to dig into the root of their doubts. Instead, they let it sit there, quietly sabotaging their dreams, their plans, their future. But here's the truth. Doubt doesn't come out of nowhere. It has a source. And when you can identify where it's coming from, you take away its ability to control you. Doubt can come from all kinds of places. Maybe it's something someone told you years ago, words that stuck with you, words that made you question your abilities. Or maybe it's rooted in a past failure, a time when you tried something and it didn't go the way you hoped. Or maybe, just maybe, it's not based on anything real at all. It's just your mind playing tricks on you, creating stories about what could go wrong. Whatever the case, the first step to breaking free from doubt is to understand it. And to do that, you've got to pause and really ask yourself, where is this coming from? Think about it. If you're feeling doubt about a big decision or a new opportunity, what's fueling it? Is it fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being judged? When you pinpoint the source, you strip away some of the power doubt has over you. Because once you know what you're dealing with, you can start to take action against it. Let's talk about fear for a moment, because it's one of the biggest culprits behind doubt. Fear loves to disguise itself as logic or being cautious, but more often than not, it's just a story you're telling yourself. A story that says, if I try, I might fail. If I fail, people might laugh. If they laugh, I'll feel ashamed. It's a chain reaction of what-ifs that stops you before you even get started. But here's what you've got to understand. Fear is not fact. Just because you're afraid of something doesn't mean it's going to happen. And even if it does, you're stronger than you think. You can handle it. Now let's get practical for a minute. Once you've identified the source of your doubt, what do you do with it? You question it. You hold it up to the light and ask, is this real? Is this helpful? Is this thought moving me closer to my goal? Or is it holding me back? You'd be amazed at how many of your doubts don't stand up to scrutiny. They fall apart the moment you really look at them. Because here's the thing about doubt. It thrives in the dark. The more you ignore it, the more it grows. But when you face it head on, it starts to shrink. Let me share something personal with you. There was a time when I doubted myself. Just like you might be doubting yourself right now. I remember thinking, what if I fail? What if I'm not cut out for this? And you know what I realized? I was asking the wrong questions. Instead of asking, what if I fail? I needed to ask, what if I succeed? Instead of, what if I'm not good enough? I needed to ask, what if I'm more than enough? Changing those questions didn't make the doubt disappear overnight, but it gave me something else to focus on, possibility, instead of fear. And that made all the difference. You've got to do the same thing. You've got to challenge the negative stories your doubt is telling you and replace them with something better, something stronger. For every what if I fail, write down what if I thrive. For every I'm not good enough, write down I've got what it takes. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about rewiring the way you see yourself and your potential. And let's not forget something important here. You're not the only one who feels doubt. Everyone does. The most successful people you know, the ones you look up to, they felt it too. The difference is, they didn't let it stop them. They used it as fuel. They looked at their doubt and said, I see you, but I'm moving forward anyway. And if they can do it, so can you. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Sometimes doubt shows up because you're comparing yourself to others. Maybe you're looking at someone who's further along in their journey and thinking, why can't I be like them? But here's the truth. You're not supposed to be like them. You're on your own path, your own timeline. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. If you're even a little bit better today than you were yesterday, that's progress. And progress is what matters, not perfection, not comparison, just progress. I want you to take a moment right now and think about the things you've already accomplished. Think about the times you pushed through challenges, the times you stepped up even when it was hard. Those moments are proof that you can handle whatever comes your way. They're proof that you've got what it takes. So when doubt tries to tell you otherwise, remind yourself of those wins. Let them be your evidence that you're capable, that you're strong, that you're ready. You've got to make a choice today. Are you going to let doubt hold you back, or are you going to break it down and move forward? Are you going to let fear dictate your future, or are you going to take control? The power is in your hands. Doubt doesn't get to decide what you do, you do. So make the decision to rise above it. Make the decision to take that first step, even if it's scary, even if it's uncertain. Because every step you take is a step closer to the life you want. You've got this. You've had it all along. And the moment you stop letting doubt call the shots is the moment everything changes. So take a deep breath, look that doubt in the eye, and say, I see you, but you don't control me. Then take the next step, and the one after that, and keep going. Because you can do this. I know it, and deep down you know it too. Let's make it happen. Number 3, shift your focus to action. Doubt is loud, isn't it? It has a way of creeping into your thoughts, convincing you to stand still, convincing you to second guess every step you take. But action has the power to silence that doubt. When you shift your focus to doing, to moving forward, doubt has no choice but to take a back seat. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. It's about choosing to act, despite the uncertainty. Think about this: every great accomplishment, every breakthrough you admire, started with action. Not perfection, not confidence, just action. The first steps were taken before the path was clear, before the fear subsided, before anyone was sure of success. And that's the beauty of it. You don't need all the answers to start. You just need the courage to begin. I've seen it time and time again. People who felt paralyzed by their doubts, by their fears, by their uncertainties. But the moment they decided to act, the momentum began to build. Action creates energy. It creates clarity. It turns thoughts into reality. And here's the key: it doesn't have to be big. Small, deliberate actions are just as powerful as bold leaps. What matters is that you move forward, no matter how small the step. There's a kind of magic that happens when you shift your focus from thinking to doing. The fear that once seemed so big starts to shrink. The uncertainty that held you back starts to feel less overwhelming. It's not that the doubt disappears completely, but it loses its grip on you. Because now, instead of letting it dictate your choices, you're showing it that you're in charge. Picture this: you've been dreaming about something, starting a new project, pursuing a goal, making a change in your life. And every time you think about it, doubt shows up. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't know how? Those thoughts can feel so heavy, so convincing. But here's the thing: they're just thoughts. They're not reality. And the only way to prove them wrong is to take action. Let's get specific. Maybe you've been thinking about starting a business, writing a book, or going after that promotion. But instead of moving forward, you've been stuck in your head, going over all the reasons why it might not work. What if, just for today, you did something different? What if you took one small step, just one? Maybe it's sending an email, writing down a plan, or making a phone call. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. There's a quote I've always loved: you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. It's simple, but it's true. The longer you wait for the perfect moment, the more time you're giving your doubt to grow. And let me tell you, there is no perfect moment. The stars will never align just right. You create the moment by acting. That's how progress happens. Not by waiting, but by doing. I know it's not always easy. Fear can be loud, and the unknown can feel intimidating. But action doesn't require you to feel fearless. It doesn't require you to have it all figured out. All it asks of you is that you show up and try. And every time you do, you're building something bigger than confidence. You're building trust in yourself. Trust that you can handle whatever comes your way. Trust that you're capable of more than you think. Trust that you've got what it takes to figure it out as you go. I want you to think back to a time in your life when you took a chance, when you stepped forward, despite the fear. Maybe it was a small moment, or maybe it was a big decision. Either way, you acted. And what happened? You learned something. You grew. You proved to yourself that you could do it. That's what action does. It teaches you. It shapes you. It strengthens you. And here's the truth: no one ever feels 100% ready. The people you look up to, the ones who seem so confident and successful, They felt doubt too. They felt fear. The difference is, they didn't let it stop them. They acted anyway. And you can do the same. I want you to try something right now. Close your eyes just for a moment and think about the thing you've been hesitating on. The thing you've been wanting to do but haven't started yet. Now imagine what your life could look like if you took that first step today. Imagine the momentum that could build, the progress you could make, the opportunities that could unfold. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels exciting, feels possible. Now open your eyes and make a decision. Decide that today is the day you stop letting doubt hold you back. Decide that today is the day you take action. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something. Because every small step you take is a step toward the life you want. Remember this, action is your superpower. It's what turns dreams into reality, what turns fear into courage, what turns doubt into determination. And the best part, it's entirely within your control. No one else can do it for you, but no one else can stop you either. It's up to you. And I know you've got it in you to make it happen. So what's it going to be? Are you going to let doubt win? Or are you going to take that first step? I believe in you. I believe in your ability to move forward, to take action, to create the life you deserve. It starts now. It starts with you. And I can't wait to see what you'll do next. Let's go. Number 4, use your past wins as proof. Your past does not define who you are today. It does not hold the power to dictate your future unless you give it that power. Every mistake, every misstep, every failure, those aren't signs of who you are. They're simply chapters in the story of who you're becoming. And let me tell you this, no chapter is final unless you stop writing the book. Think about the times you've been held back, not by circumstances, but by the memories of what went wrong. You start to doubt yourself because of something that didn't work out. You carry the weight of old failures like a backpack full of rocks. But here's the truth. Those failures were never meant to weigh you down. They were meant to teach you something. They were meant to prepare you for what's next. The only reason they still hurt is because you keep revisiting them without recognizing their purpose. You are not the same person you were a year ago, or even a month ago. Every single day, you're changing, you're learning, you're growing. The question is, are you allowing yourself to see that growth? Are you giving yourself credit for the steps you've taken, even if they didn't turn out perfectly? Because that's where the shift happens, not in erasing the past, but in choosing to see it differently. Your past is not a punishment, it's a lesson. And lessons are meant to guide you, not define you. When you look back on your life, I want you to think about the moments you thought you couldn't overcome, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the times you failed and felt like it was the end of the road. You've been there before, haven't you? And yet, here you are, you're still standing, you're still breathing, you're still trying. That says something about you. It says that you are resilient. It says that you are capable. It says that you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. But here's the thing. You can't move forward if you're constantly looking back. Imagine trying to drive a car while staring in the rearview mirror the whole time. You wouldn't get very far, would you? In fact, you'd probably crash. Life works the same way. The rearview mirror is there for perspective, not for focus. Use it to glance back, learn what you need to learn, and then fix your eyes on the road ahead. I know it's not easy. Letting go of the past can feel like letting go of a part of yourself. But the truth is, you're not letting go of yourself. You're letting go of the weight that's been holding you back. You're letting go of the idea that your past mistakes define your worth. They don't. Your worth has never been tied to what you've done. It's tied to who you are and who you're becoming. One of the most powerful things you can do is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the times you didn't know better. Forgive yourself for the decisions you wish you could take back. Forgive yourself for being human. Because that's what you are. A human being doing the best you can with what you have. And the beautiful thing about being human is that you have the ability to change, to grow, to start again. Every single day is a new opportunity to do just that. You might be thinking, but I've made too many mistakes. I've failed too many times. Let me stop you right there. There is no such thing as too many mistakes. Every person you admire, every person who has achieved great things, has failed more times than you can count. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. The only difference between them and you is that they didn't let their failures define them. They used them as stepping stones. And you can too. Start by asking yourself this. What did my past teach me? What did I learn from those moments that didn't go as planned? Maybe you learned the value of persistence. Maybe you learned that you're stronger than you thought. Maybe you learned what not to do next time. Whatever it is, take the lesson and leave the rest. You don't need to carry the pain or the guilt. You only need the wisdom. The next step is to take action. Don't let your past keep you in a place of inaction. The longer you wait, the stronger those doubts become. Start small if you have to, but take one step toward the life you want, and then another. Each step will build momentum. Each step will remind you that your past is not in control. You are. And as you move forward, surround yourself with people who believe in you. People who see your potential, not your past. People who lift you up, not hold you back. The right people can make all the difference. They can remind you of your strength when you forget. They can help you see the possibilities when all you see are obstacles. Let me leave you with this. Your past is not your prison. It's your teacher. It's there to show you what's possible, not what's permanent. You have the power to rewrite your story. Starting right now, you have the power to take the lessons you've learned and use them to create a future you're proud of. Don't let the mistakes of yesterday keep you from the opportunities of today. You are not your past. You are the author of your next chapter, and it's time to start writing. Number 5, set clear, achievable goals. Every great achievement in life starts with clarity. If you don't know where you're going, how will you ever get there? It's like being lost in a forest without a map or compass. You wander around hoping you'll find your way, but without a clear direction, you'll spend more time circling the same trees than moving forward. That's why setting clear, achievable goals is not just important, it's essential. It's the difference between drifting through life and steering it. Here's the thing, life doesn't hand you success. It doesn't knock on your door and say, here's the dream life you've always wanted. No, you have to decide what you want. You have to define it in a way that is so clear, so vivid, that you can see it, feel it, and almost touch it. Without that clarity, you'll find yourself settling for whatever comes your way. And I'll tell you this, you are capable of so much more than whatever comes your way. Think about it. When was the last time you sat down and truly thought about what you want from life? Not what others expect of you, not what you think you should want, but what you genuinely deeply desire. If you haven't done that in a while, now is the time. Grab a notebook, find a quiet spot, and start writing. Write about the kind of life you want to create, the person you want to become, and the legacy you want to leave behind. Don't hold back. Dream big, but also dream specifically. Here's what makes a goal powerful: specificity. Saying, I want to be successful isn't enough. What does success look like to you? Is it financial freedom? Is it building meaningful relationships? Is it making an impact in your community? The more specific you are, the more focused your efforts will be. It's like aiming at a target. If you don't know what you're aiming for, you'll miss every time. But clarity isn't just about knowing what you want. It's about breaking it down into steps you can actually take. Big dreams are inspiring, but they can also be overwhelming if you don't have a plan. That's why you need to set achievable goals, small, manageable steps that move you closer to your bigger vision. If your goal is to start a business, your first step might be researching the market. If your goal is to get healthier, your first step might be drinking more water or taking a 10-minute walk every day. The key is to start where you are and build from there. One of the most common excuses I hear is, I don't have time. But let's be honest, time isn't the issue. Priorities are. We make time for what matters to us. If something is truly important, you'll find a way to fit it into your life. So ask yourself, is this goal important enough to me? Am I willing to make it a priority? If the answer is yes, then it's time to take action. Start small, but start now. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it will never come. The perfect time to start is today. Now let's talk about accountability. It's easy to set goals, but it's harder to stick to them. That's where accountability comes in. Tell someone you trust about your goals. Share your progress with them. Let them hold you to your word. It's amazing how much more committed you'll be when someone else is cheering you on and checking in with you. And if you don't have someone to hold you accountable, be your own accountability partner. Write down your goals, review them regularly, and celebrate your progress. Even the smallest wins deserve recognition, because they're proof that you're moving in the right direction. Here's another thing to remember. Your goals don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be grand or impressive to anyone else. They just have to matter to you. Don't compare your goals to someone else's. Your journey is your own, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. What matters is that you're moving forward, one step at a time, toward a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling to you. I want you to imagine this. It's a year from now and you're looking back on today. Will you be proud of the choices you made? Will you be closer to the life you want? Or will you still be stuck in the same place? The decisions you make today determine the direction of your life tomorrow. So make the choice to move forward. Make the choice to set goals that inspire you and take steps to achieve them. Because every small step adds up. Every effort counts. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Remember, clarity is power. When you're clear about what you want and why you want it, you become unstoppable. Obstacles don't disappear, but they become manageable because you're focused. Doubts don't vanish, but they lose their grip because you're determined. And when you have that kind of focus and determination, there's nothing you can't achieve. So what's the next step? It's simple. Decide what you want, make a plan, and take action. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for permission. Just start. Your future self will thank you. Because the life you want, the person you want to become, it's all waiting for you on the other side of clarity and action. Now go out there and make it happen. You can do it. I know you can. Number 6, stay consistent. No matter how you feel, consistency is the quiet power behind every great success. It's not the big dramatic efforts that define a person's achievements. It's the small, steady steps they take every single day, even when they don't feel like it. Most people underestimate what consistency can do because it doesn't look exciting at first. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it works. And the truth is, consistency will take you further than motivation ever could. Think about this. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can show up once when they feel inspired. But the real winners in life, they're the ones who show up again and again, regardless of how they feel. They're the ones who push through the days when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's watching. That's what separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up halfway. Consistency doesn't care if you're in the mood. It cares that you show up. Now let's be honest. Staying consistent isn't easy. There are going to be days when everything in you screams to stop. When doubt creeps in and tells you that none of this is worth it. You'll wake up some mornings and think, why am I even doing this? And that's where most people falter. They give in to the excuse that they're too tired or too busy. But you're not most people, are you? You're here because you want something more. You're here because you've got a vision, a purpose, a reason to keep going, even on those tough days. The key to staying consistent is simple but not always easy. Focus on the process, not the result. Too often we get caught up in wanting to see immediate results. We want the reward without the work. But here's the thing. The results will come if you stick to the process. If you focus on showing up every day and doing what needs to be done, the progress will take care of itself. It's like planting a seed. You don't see the tree overnight, but you water it, you nurture it, and you trust that growth is happening even when you can't see it. You've got to create habits that make consistency automatic. It's not about relying on willpower or motivation every day because those things fade. Instead, build routines that support your goals. If your goal is to exercise more, make it as easy as possible to get started. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Choose a specific time to work out every day and stick to it. If your goal is to read more, keep a book on your nightstand or set aside 10 minutes before bed. The easier you make it to stick to your habits, the more likely you are to stay consistent. Another important part of consistency is learning to forgive yourself for the days you miss. Because let's be real, no one is perfect. Life happens, and sometimes you'll fall off track. But here's the thing, missing one day doesn't mean you've failed. What matters is what you do next. Do you throw in the towel and quit altogether, or do you pick yourself up and get back on track? Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up more often than not, and refusing to let setbacks stop you. There's power in committing to the long game. In a world where everyone wants instant gratification, you stand out when you're willing to play the long game. When you're willing to put in the work day after day, knowing that the payoff might not come right away, but trusting that it's coming. That's what builds character. That's what builds resilience. And that's what gets results. Think about the people you admire. The ones who've achieved incredible things. None of them got there overnight. They stayed consistent through the highs and the lows, through the days when it felt impossible. They kept going, not because it was easy, but because they were committed to their vision. And that same commitment is what you need to cultivate within yourself. It's already there. You just have to choose to tap into it every day. One of the most powerful tools you can use to stay consistent is reminding yourself of your why. Why did you start this journey in the first place? What's driving you? Maybe it's a better future for your family, a dream you've carried for years, or simply proving to yourself that you can do it. Whatever it is, hold on to that reason. Write it down. Look at it when you're feeling discouraged. Your why is the fuel that keeps you going when everything else feels hard. I also want to remind you of this. The small, consistent actions you take today might seem insignificant, but they're creating something bigger than you can imagine. Every time you show up, you're building momentum. Every time you stay consistent, you're strengthening your discipline. And every time you push through the hard days, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. It's like laying bricks for a house. Each brick on its own doesn't look like much, but together they create something solid, something lasting. The beauty of consistency is that it builds confidence. When you show up for yourself day after day, you start to trust yourself. You start to believe in your ability to follow through. And that belief, it's life-changing. It spills over into every area of your life. You become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about their goals but takes action. The kind of person who doesn't give up when it gets hard. The kind of person who creates their own success, brick by brick, day by day. So as you move forward, remember this. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be consistent. Show up, even when it's hard. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Build habits that support your goals and forgive yourself for the missteps along the way. Keep your why close to your heart and trust that every small action you take is leading you closer to the life you want. Because when you commit to consistency, there's nothing you can't achieve. You've got this. Keep going. Number 7. Surround yourself with support. You can't climb a mountain alone, but you also can't expect anyone else to carry you to the top. Support is one of the most powerful tools you have, and if you learn how to use it wisely, it can change everything. The truth is, life is hard enough as it is. Trying to do everything on your own doesn't make you stronger. It just makes the journey longer and more difficult. Surrounding yourself with the right people is not a sign of weakness. It's a strategy for success. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they lifting you up, or are they holding you back? Are they encouraging you to reach higher, or are they pulling you down with doubt and negativity? The people in your life matter more than you think. They shape your mindset, your beliefs, and even your actions. If you're serious about achieving your goals, you've got to be intentional about who you let into your circle. Because when you're surrounded by the right support, you'll find that your doubts shrink, your confidence grows, and your determination becomes unshakable. Support doesn't mean people will do the work for you, but it does mean they'll cheer you on when you need it most. They'll remind you of your potential when you forget. They'll push you when you're tempted to settle. And that kind of energy is contagious. It's powerful. Imagine having people in your life who believe in you so deeply that their belief starts to rub off on you. That's what support can do. It strengthens you in ways you never thought possible. But support isn't just about what others can do for you. It's also about what you can do for them. It's about building relationships that are mutual, where you uplift each other and celebrate each other's wins. There's something incredible about being part of a group of people who are all striving for greatness together. When one person succeeds, it inspires everyone else to keep going. It creates momentum, and that momentum carries everyone forward. Now let's get real for a second. Not everyone in your life is going to be supportive. Some people, even those closest to you, might doubt you or question your dreams. They might project their fears onto you, telling you all the reasons why it won't work. And that can be tough. It can make you second-guess yourself, especially if those voices are loud or persistent. But here's the thing. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need the right ones. The right people will see your potential even when you can't. They'll remind you of your why when you feel like giving up. They'll call you out when you're making excuses and challenge you to rise higher. These are the people who genuinely want to see you win, not because it benefits them, but because they care about you and your journey. When you find those people, hold on to them. And just as importantly, be that person for someone else. Be the kind of support you wish you had. Because the more you give, the more you attract. One of the best things you can do for yourself is to actively seek out communities that align with your goals. Join a group, find a mentor, or connect with people who are on the same path as you. Whether it's through social media, local meetups, or networking events, put yourself in environments where growth is the norm. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to level up. People who make you want to be better just by being around them. But let's not confuse support with comfort. Support doesn't mean people will sugarcoat the truth or let you off the hook when things get tough. True support challenges you. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and forces you to confront the things holding you back. The people who truly care about your growth won't just tell you what you want to hear. They'll tell you what you need to hear. And sometimes that's exactly what it takes to keep moving forward. There's also a level of accountability that comes with support. When you surround yourself with people who believe in you, you don't want to let them down. Their belief in you becomes a responsibility, a positive pressure that keeps you on track. It's not about pleasing others. It's about living up to the potential they see in you. And that accountability can be a game changer. It keeps you disciplined, focused, and motivated, even on the days when you feel like quitting. Support doesn't always have to come from people you know personally. Sometimes, the greatest sources of inspiration come from books, podcasts, or stories of people who've walked the path you're on. There's so much wisdom out there, so many lessons waiting to be learned from those who faced the same challenges and come out stronger. When you're feeling stuck, immerse yourself in their stories. Let their words remind you of what's possible. Let their journey reignite your belief in your own. At the end of the day, support is a two-way street. It's about giving and receiving, about lifting others up while allowing yourself to be lifted. It's about recognizing that you're not in this alone and that there's strength in connection. But remember, no matter how much support you have, the work is still yours to do. Others can inspire you, encourage you, and hold you accountable, but they can't take the steps for you. That part is up to you. So if you're serious about turning your doubts into determination, start by building a circle of support that fuels your growth. Seek out those who challenge you, inspire you, and believe in you. Be that person for someone else. And most importantly, never forget that the strongest support system you'll ever have is the one you build within yourself. Because when you combine inner strength with outer support, there's no limit to what you can achieve. You've got this. Keep going. Number 8, turn failures into lessons. Failure is not the end of the story. It's just one chapter. And if you're willing to turn the page, you'll find that the best parts of your journey are still waiting to be written. You see, failure isn't what defines you. What defines you is how you respond to it, what you learn from it, and how you use it to fuel your growth. Every single person who has ever achieved greatness has stood face to face with failure. It's not a roadblock. It's a stepping stone. Think about a time when you tried something and it didn't go the way you hoped. Maybe you felt embarrassed, discouraged, or even defeated. That sting of failure can be sharp, can't it? But here's what you might not realize. Failure is evidence that you're trying. It's proof that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, that you're willing to take risks in the pursuit of something bigger. The only way to avoid failure is to do nothing. And doing nothing is the real failure. There's a power in looking at failure differently. Most people see it as an ending. But what if you started to see it as a beginning? When something doesn't work out, it forces you to pause and reflect. It asks you, what can I do better? What can I learn from this? That's where the growth happens. Failure shines a light on the areas you need to improve. And if you're open to it, it teaches you lessons that success never could. I've always believed that failure is the greatest teacher. When you fail, you're handed an opportunity to recalibrate, to adjust your approach, to get smarter and stronger. It's like being in a lab, experimenting, and discovering what works and what doesn't. And the more you embrace failure as part of the process, the less intimidating it becomes. You start to see it for what it really is, a necessary part of success. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall over and over again, don't they? But they don't quit. They don't decide, well, I guess walking just isn't for me. No, they get up, they try again, and eventually they figure it out. Why? Because they're not afraid of failing. They're focused on the goal. Somewhere along the way, as adults, we lose that fearless determination. We start to fear failure so much that we stop trying altogether. But here's the truth. You've got to fall a few times before you can walk. And you've got to stumble a lot before you can run. The next time you fail, take a moment to really think about what happened. Not with frustration or self-pity, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, what did this teach me? How can I use this experience to improve? When you take the time to analyze your failures, you'll find they're full of valuable insights. Maybe you discover that you need to prepare more, or that your timing was off, or that there's a skill you need to develop. Whatever it is, use it, apply it, let it make you better. One of the most powerful things you can do is to stop seeing failure as something to avoid and start seeing it as something to embrace. When you do that, you'll notice a shift in how you approach challenges. Instead of holding back out of fear, you'll dive in with confidence, knowing that even if things don't go perfectly, you'll come out stronger on the other side. Failure stops being something to dread and becomes something to appreciate. But let's be honest, failure isn't fun. It can hurt. It can make you question yourself and your abilities. And that's okay. It's okay to feel disappointed when things don't go the way you hoped. Just don't stay there. Don't let that disappointment turn into self-doubt or give it the power to stop you from moving forward. Feel it, process it, and then use it as fuel to keep going. One of the biggest mistakes people make is letting failure define their self-worth. They think, I failed, so I must not be good enough. But failing at something doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you're human. It means you're learning. And the people who succeed in life aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who refuse to let it stop them. They're the ones who get back up, dust themselves off, and try again. If you look at the most successful people in the world, you'll find a common thread. They've all failed, and they've all learned from it. Thomas Edison famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. These aren't just stories. They're reminders that failure is a universal experience, even for the best of the best. What sets them apart isn't that they avoided failure, but that they refused to give up when it happened. The key to turning failure into a lesson is perspective. Instead of seeing it as a sign that you're not good enough, see it as a sign that you're growing. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, focus on what you can do differently next time. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the same journey. And the more you fail, the closer you get to the breakthrough you're working toward. Remember, failure doesn't have the power to stop you unless you give it that power. It's not a wall, it's a hurdle, and hurdles are meant to be jumped over. So the next time you face a setback, remind yourself that it's temporary. It's a moment in time, not the end of your story. You have the strength to overcome it, the resilience to keep going, and the wisdom to turn it into a stepping stone for your success. You're going to fail. It's inevitable. But how you respond to those failures is what matters most. Will you let them break you, or will you let them build you? Will you see them as the end of the road, or will you use them to pave the way forward? The choice is yours. And I hope you choose to see failure for what it really is. A powerful, necessary, and ultimately transformative part of your journey to greatness. Number 9, visualize success and feel it. Success isn't just something you achieve, it's something you feel. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the life you truly want. Not just the material things, but the feeling of accomplishment, the peace of mind, the joy of living fully. That vision is not out of reach. It's already within you, waiting for you to claim it. And the first step toward it is this. You must visualize it so vividly, so clearly, that it feels as real as the ground you're standing on. When you visualize success, you're not daydreaming. You're planting seeds in your mind, seeds that will grow into action. The mind is powerful. It responds to the pictures you create. If you constantly see yourself failing or stuck, guess what? That's exactly where you'll stay. But if you start seeing yourself winning, achieving, and overcoming, your actions will naturally align with that vision. Your body follows where your mind leads. Think back to a time when you wanted something so badly that you could almost taste it. Maybe it was landing a job, acing an exam, or hitting a personal milestone. Remember how you could see yourself reaching that goal. That mental picture wasn't just wishful thinking. It was your brain preparing you to succeed. Visualization is like a mental rehearsal. Athletes do it. Performers do it. High achievers in every field do it. Because they understand this simple truth. You cannot achieve what you cannot first see. Take a moment now to imagine your version of success. Maybe it's starting your own business, traveling the world, or simply waking up every day feeling proud of the person you've become. Whatever it is, make it specific. Don't just say, I want to be successful. What does that look like for you? Picture the details. See yourself in the moment of victory. What do you feel? Who's with you? What are they saying? Bring it to life in your mind. Now here's the key. Don't just see it. Feel it. Feel the excitement, the pride, the relief. Let it wash over you as if it's already happened. Why? Because the more you feel it, the more real it becomes. Emotions are powerful. They drive our actions. When you combine a clear vision with strong emotions, you create a force that propels you forward. You start to believe, and belief is the foundation of every great achievement. Visualization isn't just about positive thinking. It's about rewiring your mind to focus on possibilities instead of limitations. When you visualize success, your brain starts looking for ways to make it happen. You notice opportunities you might have overlooked. You take steps you might have hesitated to take. It's like setting your internal GPS to the destination you want to reach. Sure, there might be detours along the way, but as long as you stay focused on where you're headed, you'll get there. This isn't magic, it's science. Studies have shown that visualization activates the same areas in the brain as actually performing the activity. When you mentally practice success, you're training your brain and body to respond as if you've already succeeded. That's why so many champions credit visualization as a key part of their preparation. They don't just train their bodies, they train their minds. But here's the thing. Visualization alone isn't enough. You can't just sit around picturing success and expect it to show up at your door. You've got to back it up with action. Think of visualization as the spark that lights the fire, but it's your effort that keeps it burning. The clearer your vision, the more motivated you'll be to take the steps needed to turn it into reality. Start small. Each morning, take a few minutes to close your eyes and visualize your day going exactly the way you want it to. See yourself being productive, confident, and focused. Feel the satisfaction of getting things done. As you build this habit, expand your vision. Think about your bigger goals and imagine yourself achieving them. Do this consistently, and you'll notice a shift in how you approach challenges. They won't seem as daunting because your mind will already be programmed to overcome them. Life is full of distractions and doubts that can pull you off course. Visualization is your anchor. It keeps you grounded in your purpose and focused on your goals. When you hit a rough patch, and you will, because that's life, return to your vision. Remind yourself why you started, what you're working toward, and how incredible it will feel to get there. Let that vision reignite your determination. Some people might say, this sounds too simple, but simplicity is where the power lies. The most effective tools in life are often the simplest. Visualization costs nothing but a few minutes of your time, yet the return on investment can be life-changing. It builds confidence, sharpens your focus, and strengthens your belief in what's possible. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Begin today. Take 5 minutes to visualize the best version of your life, and then take one small step toward making it real. Success isn't some distant destination. It's built one step, one decision, and one vision at a time. If you can see it, you can achieve it. The life you want is waiting for you. It's time to go get it. Number 10, commit to becoming your best self. Every great achievement begins with a decision to commit, fully, completely, and without hesitation. Think about that for a moment. When you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you declare to the world, to yourself, and to every obstacle in your way, I am unstoppable. It's a promise you make to your future self that no matter how tough things get, no matter how many times you stumble, you'll rise every single time because your potential deserves nothing less. But let's get real for a second. This isn't easy. The road to becoming your best self isn't always smooth. There will be days when you doubt yourself, when the voice in your head whispers that you're not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. And on those days, the temptation to quit will be strong. That's when commitment matters most. Because commitment isn't about feeling motivated all the time. It's about showing up, doing the work, and pushing forward, even when you don't feel like it. Think of commitment as a contract you sign with yourself. It's not a casual agreement you back out of when things get uncomfortable. It's a pledge, a bond, a deep and unwavering promise that says, I will keep going, no matter what. And the beauty of commitment is that it builds momentum. Every time you honor your promise to yourself, you build trust in your own abilities. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. You see, the journey to becoming your best self is about progress, not perfection. It's about showing up every day and giving your best effort, even if that effort looks different from one day to the next. Some days your best might mean conquering a big challenge, and other days it might mean simply getting out of bed and taking one small step forward. Both are victories. Both matter. What counts is that you keep moving. Now let's talk about the power of consistency. Commitment without consistency is like a car without fuel. it won't get you anywhere. The small daily actions you take may not seem significant in the moment, but over time they add up to something extraordinary. Think about it. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most inspiring leaders, they didn't achieve their greatness overnight. They committed to the process. They showed up, day after day, even when it was hard, even when no one was watching, even when they didn't see immediate results. And that's what you have to do. To become your best self, you need to set a standard for your life. A standard that reflects your values, your goals, and the person you want to become. This isn't about comparing yourself to others or living up to someone else's expectations. It's about deciding what excellence looks like for you and striving to meet that standard every single day. When you raise your standards, you raise your life. You stop settling for mediocrity and start demanding more of yourself, not in a harsh or critical way, but in a way that honors your potential. But let's be clear. Commitment doesn't mean you'll never fail. You will. Failure is part of the process. It's how you learn, grow, and get better. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of failure. It's how they respond to it. When you're committed, failure doesn't define you. It refines you. It becomes a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. So when you fall, and you will, don't stay down. Get back up, dust yourself off, and keep going. That's what commitment looks like in action. Here's something else to remember. Commitment isn't just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who achieves them. It's about building character, resilience, and discipline. When you commit to something meaningful, you stretch yourself. You push beyond your comfort zone. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. And in the process, you transform, not just your circumstances, but your identity. You become someone who takes ownership of their life. Someone who doesn't wait for opportunities, but creates them. Someone who inspires others by the way they live. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I stay committed when life gets hard? The answer lies in your why. Why do you want to become your best self? What's driving you? What's at stake if you give up? Your why is your anchor. It's the reason you keep going when the going gets tough. So take a moment to reflect on it. Write it down. Keep it close. And when you feel like quitting, remind yourself of why you started in the first place. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who challenge you to grow, who believe in you even when you struggle to believe in yourself. Commitment thrives in an environment of support and accountability. Find a community, a mentor, a friend, someone who will hold you to your word and encourage you to keep pushing forward. And don't forget to celebrate your progress along the way. Every step you take, no matter how small, is worth acknowledging. Success isn't just the destination, it's the journey. So appreciate the effort you're putting in. Be proud of yourself for showing up, for trying, for committing. Becoming your best self is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, to the people you love, and to the world. Because when you rise, you lift others with you. When you commit to your potential, you inspire others to do the same. So take that first step today. Make the decision to commit fully, completely, and without hesitation. The journey won't always be easy, but I promise you this, it will be worth it. The best version of you is waiting. Go claim it.